What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. On this fine old Tuesday right here, we're gonna give you guys a Strand build that is pretty nasty, especially since we got that nice Grandmaster Excision mission today, where you gotta go in matchmaking this Wishful Ignorance new exotic arms for our Titan, with that perk giving us an extra frenzied blade, as well as giving us melee energy based on the number of allies that we heal. Is super broken. You can see in the gameplay, I am literally just throwing these fletchling storms all around with that frenzy braid, and because we are getting them back, it isn't a modifier in the mission. It is purely because we are healing 5, 4, 6 other guardians with us on this single plate, so we are able to just whip melees like it's no one's business. So in raids, as well as that excision mission, this is going to be absolutely disgusting. Obviously, a little less of that melee energy. You're not going to be able to spam it when you only got 2 other guardians that you're healing inside of like Grandmaster Strikes or something like that, but it still will give you a little bit of energy that makes you able to use this way more often than you should, with the frenzy blade mixed with that fleshlet storm. So like I was talking about with this Wishful Ignorance right here, this is the Wish Dragon's Talon is our armor perk on this. We gain an additional frenzy blade charge, so going from 3 to 4 already. Frenzy blade and fleshlet storm briefly increase their damage with each strike, which is absolutely disgusting as well. Pulses from the Banner of War return that melee energy based on the number of allies healed, so that is, like I was saying, why I was getting it back so fast in that excision mission, because I was healing 4 to 6 guardians, if not more, all at once. So we were able to get back all 4 charges with that melee almost instantly. It felt like when we were healing 6 people. So even when we're healing 2, like I said, we're going to get a nice little chunk of that energy back, being able to use those melees very often. Next on the list, we're going to go over this subclass that really pairs with that beautiful new exotic that we got. Obviously, we got our Blade Fury. Only thing we got for our super Barricade, totally up to you, towering or rally. Same thing with the jump right here. I usually go with strafe inside of the PvE realm. Obviously, we got our frenzy blade that pairs with the exotic, getting that extra charge, so we're also severing a bunch of those targets. With, for me, I went with shackle grenades with this build for that more support. Suspending characters can use them for unstoppables. Most people like a grapple, but we're not getting that extra little bit of oomph like we do with Synthoceps and the grapple Banner of War situation. This is purely based around that fleshlet storm, as well as just using our extra frenzy blade, so that is why I went with the shackle. Now, of course, we're going to be using Banner of War right here, so we get that to proc with the new armor in the Wishful Ignorance to get even more melee energy back. Plus, you can see all the perks that it gives you just in itself, healing with those pulses, as well as increasing melee and sword damage for us and allies. So it's pretty nice just inside of itself, plus even better with all the melee energy that new arms give us. We're using that fleshlet storm obviously as well, so we can knock back those targets, giving a little bit of damage, as well as unraveling targets with the projectiles. So we're going to be able to sever, unravel, and suspend all with this build. 1 with the frenzied blade, 1 with the fleshlet storm, and 1 with our grenades. So love the combination of everything. Plus, like I said, being able to get those melees back as quick as we did with healing 4, 5, 6 people, it was so disgusting. As for fragments down here, we went with Thread of Propagation, so those powered melee final blows grant our Strand weapons unraveling rounds, so we're going to be using that nice new the Call sidearm that is that rocket frame. Next off, we got Thread of Transmutation. Well, we have Woven Mail final weapon blows give us more tangles. We're using those for a few different things. 1 is on our artifact. Next up, number 3, Thread of Warding. When we pick up those orbs of power, we're going to get that Woven Mail. We're also using Woven Mail for another part of our artifact that you will see in a second here, but allowing us to also proc that transmutation with the warding. Last but certainly not least, Thread of Fury. So damaging targets with tangles grants us that melee energy. So I was just using this to really get back our melee energy, because we're creating tangles everywhere with this build because of the aspects and fragments that we have on, plus the artifact, which you will see in a second. Next on the list is going to be our armor mods, as well as the stats to build out. So I went with Resilience, obviously, for our Barricade on Titan, as well as Strength. So so we can have that Frenzy Blade up as often as possible, as well as that Fleshlit Storm because of our nice Wishful Ignorance right here. And then I went with these three being at the mid tier. Didn't know which one I really wanted to go in. Probably Recovery would have been my next highest choice, but that is also why I have Font of Restoration on as an armor mod. Now for other mods that we have on, Heavy Ammo Finder and Scout to help spread that ammo around to us and our fellow allies, as well as creating more Orbs of Power with that the Call, since it is pretty disgusting with Slice and One for All, which you will see in a second. We're going to go heavy-handed to create Orbs of Power on all those melee defeats. Like I said, this build is disgusting with that melee ability regen, momentum transfer as well, so we can get melee energy on hitting people with that Shackle Grenade, and impact induction, causing damage with those powered melees, allows us to get our grenade back. So the grenade regen is also very quick on this because of this mod right here and the amount of melees that we're throwing out. On our chest piece, I went with Concussive Dampener plus Void Resistant Solar, just what I was going through in the gameplay. You can obviously switch these out for anything you want. If you need something like Triple Arc, you can totally do that as well. Onto our boots, I went with Double Absolution so we can get all of our abilities a little bit of energy when we pick up those Orbs of Power, as well as Recuperation to give us some health regen as well when we pick up those Orbs of Power. Plus that Font of Restoration, like I said, gives us plus 30 in the recovery column, so it jacks us up all the way to 80 in that recovery when we do have armor charge. So we're getting it very easily by picking up all those Orbs of Power with Reaper, our Harmonic Siphon, as well as heavy-handed, plus all the orbs that our fellow guardians are creating. On to the list of our weapons right here, we're gonna have the Call for us. This will help us to stun those unstoppables, plus it has all that synergy with creating tangles, having unraveling rounds, plus alone it has that slice so it can sever enemies with One for All. This thing is absolutely disgusting. You can see got 500 kills on it already. On top of that, we got No Hesitation, so both of these are gonna have that wild card perk on it for its origin trait right here, or dealer's choice I should say, which we will cover inside of our artifact. But this No Hesitation with that physics as well as the Circle of Life allows us to get restoration on this build, as well as a little bit of extra damage with this weapon because of those two perks and how this works. It is a goated weapon. I think this thing should be the first weapon that everybody crafts, and then the Call should be the second. Last but not least, we got the Microchasm right here for our exotic as well as our heavy. This thing absolutely melts tormentors as well as subjugators. A lot of those bosses for some reason must be coded in a different way, where this thing with that kinetic damage after our super runs out, as well as bonus damage to shields, absolutely destroys them. So went with the Microchasm. Absolutely love this thing as a weapon. Now last but not least, we got ourselves our little Huntle's Journal right here with the mods. Really using Unstoppable Sidearm for that Call, and then right here we are using Winning Hand, so well using those weapons with the dealer's choice, so the Call as well as No Hesitation. Combatant Precision Final Blows, or rapidly defeating combatants, cause the targets to explode, dealing solar damage to those combatants. Having several weapons equipped with that dealer's choice increases the effect of the explosion, so we're going to be able to create a big solar explosion as well with both of those weapons, either precision or rapid defeats. Authorized mod right here, elemental charge mods are going to go down a little bit, so we can just have a little bit more ammo economy with our mods, if you will, inside of our armor. Next off, we got this overcharged armory for those dealer choice weapons. When that is a possibility, they're going to be overcharged for a little bit of extra damage. Elemental Siphon right here is when we are using the Call, we're going to create even more tangles, which we were using to get back our melee energy when we do damage with them. So this is going to be very easy to proc. On top of that, the Threaded Blast, when we destroy tangles with a strand weapon, it creates an actual crazy big explosion, in my personal opinion, compared to the normal one. So it goes hand in hand with this, as well as our Elemental Siphon and all the tangles with those aspects and fragments that we're creating up above in our super. Now we are going with Press the Advantage, so when we break those combatant shields, we're getting stability, handling, as well as reload speed on our weapons. Counter Energy, if you're breaking shields for those overloads, unstoppables, or barriers, you're going to get a little bit of an ability recharge for your least amount of energy. with prismatic transfer. This is really if everybody's using different supers than us, which a lot of people are going to be using something like Solar, Void, Arc this season, since we got these 3 inside of this as well as prismatic. So hopefully this allows us them to do a bunch of damage with those weapons if they are using different supers. And then Shield Crush, when we have that woven mail, like I said, our melee also increases in recharge rate and deals more damage. So it is a crazy combination that we are getting with the regen that we get from Banner of War, with all the tangles being destroyed, with our armor mods, as well as this artifact perk. It is regen city for our melee. We're throwing out fletchlings everywhere. We're using that extra frenzied blade. It is crazy the amount of debuffs as well, with tangles, with sever, with unravel. It is suspend as well. Actually, we got them all. This build, I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was because of how sweet prismatic is and those exotic class items, but do not sleep on this build, like I said, especially in raids when you're healing 6 guardians or 5 other guardians. That excision mission, since we got the Grandmaster coming out, is going to absolutely slay. And then as well, just even in a normal old strike with 2 other people going through a Grandmaster or something, as long as you're healing them, you're going to get your melee back very, very quickly, because we're going to have woven mail very often. So our artifact perk is going to proc, and then everything else that we showed with our aspects, fragments, armor mods. This thing is disgusting. So hopefully y'all Titans can try this bad boy out, give it a shot. It is very, very fun and slaps out in any kind of content that you can go into. So hopefully, again, y'all are enjoying the content. We got a lot more coming out for y'all here. Got those Grandmaster excision missions that we're talking about in this video coming out today, so be on the lookout for those. Make sure to hit that bell and subscribe if you would like. Get those notifications so we can get those beautiful builds out to you faster. Get those notifications on God rolls as well, so helps me out, helps the channel out. Got a Discord as well to help people through that dual destiny mission, get this microcosm, whatever you guys need, so make sure to hit that up as well. But again, I appreciate all you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.